Hi, my name is François and I will be your webinar host today. With me today I have Tim who will demonstrate the new BOM feature. So you can use the chat box in the GoToWebinar panel if you have any question. We'll make you room after the session for more questions to let you follow the presentation better. This will be a very short webinar. We expect this webinar to be somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 minutes. The webinar will be recorded and made available later on. So let's get started. So in this webinar, we are going to review a feature introduced in Custom Tools 2020 that allows you to manage BOM quantity. That feature has been designed to be used especially in ERP integration. In the live demo, Tim will introduce that new feature to you, and we'll also introduce some possible use case and finally show you how you can configure it. So this is a bit different than the usual webinar, so it will be a bit more technical, but we'll also give you the opportunity to configure that feature and see how it's done. So what you have in SolidWorks is not necessarily what you need to see in an ERP system. This is very true when it comes to managing quantities. SolidWorks provides you an engineering BOM, while ERP system relies on a production BOM to manufacture your design. Data from the SolidWorks to ERP needs to be made easy for the people on the shop floor or even the purchasing department to really understand it. So if it's not easy, then trouble will arise. So how can quantities defined in my SolidWorks BOM can differ from the quantity that I need to have in my ERP BOM? Well, for most of the parts that you have, that is not true. The ratio will remain 1-to-1, so there is no issues. So issues will arise when you start to look at parts that are profiles or plates, which are probably cut from a raw material, so some of the parts that you need to manufacture. So to illustrate that, let's take an example. So here I have a table provided by the courtesy of the TRH Corporation. Like any other table, our table has 4 legs. And if I export that table to the ERP, the quantity in the ERP will be 4, as it is in SolidWorks. And as you can see here, we have the 4 quantity. In reality, to produce that table, I probably need to cut the legs from a profile. If the engineering BOM is pushed to the ERP, then the purchasing department might think that the production floor will need like 4 times that profile to produce that table and order extra profiles which will not be needed. But if the profile comes in 3 meters and I only need, as we can see here, 70 centimeters for each of those legs, then the actual quantity is not 4, but 1. As from one profile, we can cut the needed 280 centimeters. So, enough talk, let's get into a live demo. So, Tim, the stage is all yours, so I will make you a presenter.
Thank you, François. So let me share my screen. And I will start by showing a very basic assembly that is quite easy to follow. So we have a 10 euro bill and we have a 50 cent. And then we have a tray that is made of silver. So we are today going to provide you with some allowance, and you will be very disappointed with your allowance if we are using the default SolidWorks bill of material. So if I look at the drawing for this one, then you can see that your allowance will be 1. I know we can see it's a 10 euro bill, but the value you are getting is 1. So we could argue and say, well, you will get 1 euro, because that is actually what we have in the quantity. Now, to make this more meaningful, we probably want to have the quantity to be the true value of the item that we are presenting. So in this case, it would be 10 if we have one 10 euro bill, and it would be 0.5 for half a euro coin. And if we are going to cut a silver tray, then we definitely don't want to buy an entire plate of silver. We probably want to buy exactly what we need to have that. So let's look at how we can accomplish that in SolidWorks and using custom tools. So this one is the assembly again, and I could actually easily go in and manipulate the bill of material directly inside SolidWorks. So let me start by opening up this €10 bill and going into the document properties and then select that BOM quantity is the BOM quantity. So now I selected this one, which is this one, set to 10. If I hit OK and go back to the drawing, I have the correct value. Obviously we are probably a little bit limited in this way, and it might not be very intuitive, because how can we detect that from custom tools when we are doing the export? So we made this new function for doing this. So let me just open up the €10 bill again and reset this one to none. If you didn't know this, you already have that, even if you do not have custom tools. So that is a free tip in SolidWorks you get today. Now, oops, sorry. If I go into this one again, I just work directly on the assembly. In this case, we have now introduced a new way of controlling the properties. So I will start by opening up the custom tools options and explain where these are being used and pulled from. So in profile option, we have our model properties, and in here I have a property called BOM quantity. In this field I am able to type, or I could get a combination or whatever, and I can use that in the bill of materials that we are exporting. To do that, you need to select the properties. From in here you can select which property is used as the model BOM quantity, and in this case it's the BOM quantity. We could even select to use a different one if we wanted to for assemblies. And we have the option to propagate these quantity values or this setting back to the SolidWorks file. Now, before I go any deeper in this one, looking at this is where we are going to update the value. So your SolidWorks files will be updated with this one. So we are setting the BOM quantity to whatever we have defined in the custom tools settings. I hope that makes sense. To use these properties or these quantities in our export, we need to do one more setting. So we now have the property setting correct, and now we need to go to our export profile. In the Excel report, there is a new function, you could say, that for BOM quantity, you need to, not that one, this one, if I can double click. So this is going to be a SolidWorks property. And the new field that we added is called material quantity. And you need to pay attention to this one, because if you do not add that to your Excel file or to your ERP export, then this is not going to be working at all. So new function, new field type, SolidWorks property, material quantity. With that said, we can now use this data in our export. I'm going to execute an export first. I have nothing set for this one currently. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the interface. So right now we have the assembly, we have the €10, we have the 50 cent, and we have the silver tray. So I have defined that there is a BOM quantity of 10. Actually, it is already set, it looks. And we are calculating correctly that the BOM quantity is now 10. We have the SolidWorks quantity, which is 1. But the value that we have defined is 10, so that is going to multiply with the instances, you could argue, and we will get the correct value in here. Let me dig a little bit deeper in this one. We are not satisfied with a €10 bill, so let's unsuppress and get a stack of euro bills. Very easy to make money nowadays. Now, if I go and export again, I don't have to save it. You will see that now the SolidWorks quantity is 125. The BOM quantity is 10, and the value is now going to be 1250. Okay, let's try one more thing. If I take my 10 euro bill and go into properties and type in a different value, let's say 9 or 8, whatever. Now it's a different value that we assign to this item. Opening up the assembly again and executing the export. I don't have to save it. Now the value is 8 and I have 125, so now we get a perfect 1000. So we are multiplying the BOM quantity that we insert with the actual quantity of that item that SolidWorks is calculating, and then we are getting the true value of our item. I also have for the silver tray the BOM quantity of 0.106 square meters. And this is a very good way of doing your calculation. So if I'm going to investigate that one a little bit, you can see that I have the silver plate, and in my cut list data I have a calculated area for this item, and that is then being inserted. So we are copying the cut list item into the model property scope and then using that. So if I change the dimensions of this one, the quantity would increase, or if I made it smaller, it would decrease. So we always get accurate value assigned for our items. There is one thing we need to know, and that is if I open up the part file and go into properties and I assigned the part BOM quantity of 0.50 and hit OK. Then I can go into the file properties and we can see that the BOM quantity is now set correctly. And basically, I think that is all there is to it for this webinar. I can share with you a little trick that we did so you can utilize this on your ship metal files. So in cut list properties, I have where is that area in square meters that is going to be returned in, and we are getting a combination value. So in the weldment combination, I am calculating the bounding box width with the bounding box length and dividing by whatever I need to get down to the target value that I want to, or the unit I want. In this case, square meters. If I wanted to have it in square millimeters, I would need to add more zeros, I guess. But this is a way of calculating. So when you're performing calculations using custom tools, you need to have a sharp parenthesis and then you multiply it, and you can then get that value and use that someplace else. For instance, for calculating the footprint that a part is using in terms of material consumption for your manufacturing process. But that is pretty much it, Francois. So if you want to take it back, then it's up to you.
Yep, thank you. So that is all we had to show you for today. So just to give you a little update on our webinar series. So we'll continue after the summer, starting again in September. So we are now open for questions when the recording is stopped. But first, we would like to thank you all for attending the webinar, and we hope to see you all for the next one. Thank you and have a nice day. So now the recording is stopped, so we can go to the questions.
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.